Yep, sit back, relax, and get ready to enjoy another awesome video by Capt Frank Lanier. Please subscribe, like, and share with all your friends and all the people you hate too. Hi, I'm Capt Frank Lanier, a retired Coast Guard officer and SAMS Accredited Marine Surveyor with over 40 years of experience in the maritime and diving industry. I've amassed literally thousands of photos of all the bad things I've found on boats during my career as a Marine Surveyor. So what we're going to do today is take a look at some of my favorites. We're going to take a look at each picture. We're going to discuss why they're evil, and we're going to discuss what you need to do to correct them. So hop in, buckle up, keep your arms and legs inside the car at all times as we take a carnival-like ride tour through the cavalcade of owner-induced perversions that I like to call Capt Frank's Sea Chest of Horror. Sea Chest of Horror. So here's something I see more than you would think, although this is a particularly gnarly example of it. So I got called to do a damage inspection on a boat that suffered from an electrical fire. There was a lot of smoke and stuff coming out of it, and the owner, he hopped out and he snatched the shore power cord out. And this is what he had, or what he found when he did it. The fire department was called and they went to the boat. There were no hotspots or anything. So it was all AC related, AC power related. And this shore power cord is the cause of it. So, barring any physical damage or, some owner-induced MacGyverism going bad, jury rig adapters, botched plug installations and such, corrosion and overheating are the primary causes of a shore power, system failure like this. Loose or corroded connections generate heat and the potential for fire. It's a problem especially prevalent among vessels like this, where you had liveaboards that continually run high energy loads such as air conditions, water heaters, portable heaters, and stuff like that. So things that can contribute to this problem, one would be plugging and unplugging the AC shore power connector while energized. That contributes to the problem by it generates micro arcs and sparks every time you unplug it and plug it while it's hot. And what this does, it creates tiny pits on the surface of the connections, which in turn leads to resistance and heat buildup. Another thing you'll notice on this, in this particular example, is there's no retaining ring on the plug. The retaining ring is just the threaded screw ring. When you insert the plug here into the inlet at the boat and you twist it into place, that screw ring just screws onto the threaded portion of the inlet, and that locks everything tight and it prevents the plug from wiggling as the boat rises and falls with the tide or rocks due to wakes and such as that. Because if the plug wiggles, then you get, again, movement, minor arcs and sparks, micro pitting and stuff, and that generates the the resistance and heat buildup once again. You should inspect your AC shore power plugs regularly. I'd recommend at least monthly, and I would also recommend every time that you get underway, you unplug your shore power cord, inspect the plug and also the inlet to make sure there's no browning or charring around the pins and such. And I'll also recommend that if you see a plug like this that has some charring or burning and you replace it, be sure to check the inlet too. You'd be amazed how many people they see that the plug itself is damaged and they put a new plug in, but they don't even look at the inlet to see if it's damaged. And a lot of time it's damaged as well, which means that the new plug that you just installed on your cord is going to be damaged as well as you plug it in here, and it's already burnt and it's going to just burn the new one as well. So whenever you do a boat project, of course, you should, once it's completed and you're done with it and it's finished, you should still go back and walk through it and check and make sure everything's done. All the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. And this is a perfect example. In this case, the owner had an existing through hull seacock below the waterline. It was feeding his raw water flush marine toilet. And he wanted to, instead of add another through hull below the waterline, he wanted to tee into this and provide a raw water intake for a newly installed water maker. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's perfectly logical not to want to put any more holes in the bottom of your boat below the waterline than is absolutely necessary. As a side note, I will caution that whatever system you're teeing into, you want to make sure that the new system that you're teeing into the existing through hull and seacock, is not going to suffer from, you taking more water from this. In other words, for this one, it's a raw water flush for a toilet, and you're tapping off of that for the water maker. There's probably not going to be a conflict as far as, there not being enough water to provide for both systems. Now, if it was, a raw water intake for your engine and you were pulling something off, teeing into it, that could be a problem, lack of cooling water on your engine. But anyway, so he's teed into it, and he installed the new hose, and he teed into it and called it good. But the problem is he forgot to install the hose clamps after he was finished. So he launched this boat, and we were doing a survey on it, and I pointed this out to him. I said, look, you know what? These hoses are on there. The only thing holding them on there is, a wing and a prayer. There certainly are not any hose clamps on it. So the recommendation, of course, here was to install your hose clamps. And it just goes to show whenever you do a project and stuff, and no matter how simple it seems, always take a moment and step back and look at everything and make sure, that you've done all you're supposed to and you haven't missed anything. I mean, this right here could sink your boat very easily. I was able to just pull those hoses right off and apart. I mean, they came apart very easily because there were no hose clamps. So anyway, always check your work and make sure that everything's been done before you call it good and you knock off and have a beer. So here we're looking at a fuel tank on a mid-sized sailboat. And, I see stuff like this all the time, and it just starts your mind to cycling through, trying to figure out, what was going through the owner's mind when he did this, or why did he do this? And what we're talking about is, if you look to the bottom right there, there is a fuel sending unit, and around the fuel sending unit is a square of patch of diaper, bilge diaper, of oil absorbent cloth, right? So the owner has cut the square, and he's cut, the circle for the fuel sending unit, and he's placed it on there. And you got to wonder, okay, why? When you see something like this, the first thing you got to think of is, dude, what the hell's going on here? Why are you doing this? Well, my first thought, as soon as I saw it, was, okay, so the owner has a fuel leak at this, fuel sending unit, and he has to address that problem. His method is to put a diaper around it, or cut a piece of, cloth from a fuel diaper, place it on there so that it can absorb any leaks from this fuel sending unit. And you know what? Problem solved, right? Anytime you see something weird like this, always you got to try to figure out, why is it like that? There's something going on. People don't just arbitrarily do stupid crap like this. There's always a reason, and they try to logic it, right? And the reason that diaper is not white, it's got a yellowish or orangish cast to it, is because it's soaked with diesel fuel. So that again leads credence to my theory of, okay, you got a leak here, and this is what the owner's way of addressing it was. So, of course, the recommendation here, you got something going on like this, pull the thing, find out why it's leaking, it's a gasket or whatever, and repair it rather than have to do some jury rig like this. So what we've got here in this photo is some yin and yang, some of the good and some of the bad boating stuff, and this is pertaining to chain. What we have here is what's called a riveted link. Now, a riveted link is the best way to join sections or two shots of chain, right? In other words, it works way better than a chain shackle does. It emulates a link of chain so that it can more easily go through a windlass or whatever. So this is undoubtedly the best way to join two sections of chain. The problem is when you install this thing, what you do is you put it in place, and you've got two studs right there, and you have to brad these together. You got to bang them with a hammer and mushroom them out to join the links properly. Well, the owner's kind of done that with the lower link, but the upper link, he didn't do it. So, I mean, it's just there, and that thing's loose, and it could easily come apart. So, again, this is the best way to do something. but it's the worst way to do the best something. So you got to brad this together so it'll operate properly. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, and you want to buy Captain Frank a cup of coffee, please click on the thanks button below this video. All tips received, not spent on coffee, will be used to improve my YouTube channel and create even more awesome videos.